Hey there. Hello, how do you do? My name is Harry Wetzel. Thanks for coming. It's the 80s, darling. Yes, it is. It is the last Saturday in January in 1984. Yes. And sometimes I go in early, nice and early on Saturday. Sometimes I go in nice and late. Well, today, this particular Saturday, I'm going in around noonish. And when I get there, what's playing on the radio? But The Girl Is Mine by Jackson and McCartney. Ew, sexist pop. That song always sort of got on my nerves. Anyhow, so when I get in there, there is a huge pyramid of booze boxes. There's a huge pyramid of a delivery that was made by the distributor, the end of the month booze delivery. And so we've got cases and cases and cases and boxes and boxes and boxes. And they're right there on the main showroom floor, just piled up in a huge pile of boxes. And I've got to get them down to the wine cellar, and I've got to get the rest of them sort of parceled out into the showroom itself and made into nice displays. I've got a lot of work ahead of me. And so off I go like a shot, taking these boxes down the steps, taking these other boxes and putting them over where they need to go for their display purposes. Francine is meanwhile running the shop on her own. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing all this other work and she's taking care of the customers and running the cash register. Steve's in the shop, but he's back in his office, and he hasn't shown his face the whole time. We just know that he's there because he's busy and Francine said he came out and talked to her a couple of times, but no, he's just busy in the shop, busy in his office. So I'm moving cases around. I'm cutting them with my X-Acto knife and making nice display cases. And I'm moving other boxes down to the wine cellar. And then Francine is getting the phone rings, and I get a delivery or two. I had a delivery to Bernardini, the rhyming couple, and they always get two magnums of red wine, and they're very delightful and friendly, and they give me a nice tip. And then I'm back to work, and I'm making more display cases in the showroom and like that. And a couple of hours like this, it goes on. And after a couple of hours of just up and down the stairs and making display cases like that and making it, I keep a pretty nice and tidy showroom, even if I say so. And the displays are always pretty nice and sharp. Right. I like to make it so that it's appealing to the eye. Yes. So anyhow, it's about a couple hours into the day. It's almost 3 o'clock or something like that, and I get the last couple of boxes off of the showroom and down into the basement and parceled out into the display cases, and it looks lovely. And so I get over by the counter, and Francine and I are sort of admiring the showroom, how it's looking nice and sharp and tidy again, and I feel great about this. And then the phone rings. Francine gets it. She's Vino Veritas, may I help? Oh, sorry, it's okay. And she hangs up. She says, "That's Steve. He's on the he's getting it on the extension in the back in the office." Anyhow, so we're admiring the showroom again, and then Steve comes out of the office, and he comes out and he starts walking towards the front of the store, and he brings with him a lady. We didn't know there was a lady back there with him. We just thought he was alone doing his paperwork or whatever like that. Anyhow, he comes down and they're walking towards us, and they're both sort of grinning. And Steve looks like the Cheshire Bloody Cat for some reason. And it's really a little bit weird because it's a replay of the other day when when Stephen came down and introduced us to Conchita. So he's got this big Cheshire cat grin, and the lady there's got she's got a big grin on too. And he says, "Francine, Harry, I'd like to introduce you to my wife, Ruthie." And we're like, oh, it's wonderful to meet you. Hello, how do you do? And Ruthie is very normal. She comes up and she shakes our hand. She's normal. I liked her. She gives me both hands and she meets my eyes. Very normal and friendly. And and then Steve says, and That phone call you just heard? He says, yeah, it's official. You want to tell him, honey? And so then Ruthie says, yes, it is. It's official. That was my doctor. It's official. I'm pregnant. I'm expecting a baby sometime this fall in the autumn, my favorite time of year. And we're like, well, a mazel tov. I'm like, mazel tov. And I go over and I shake Steve's hands and I say, congratulations, Daddy-O. And he meets my eyes. It's very nice. And Francine comes over and gives a big hug to Ruthie and all that. And Steve is, and you can see he's grinning like the Cheshire Cat because this is fantastic news for them. He says, well, we're going to take off. He says, I'll probably see you Monday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know when, but we've obviously got a lot of stuff to do. All right. So they go back and they get their coats and then they put on their coats and then off they go. They bundle off. They go out in front of the shop and poof, they're gone. I turn to Francine and I say, whoa. I had no idea that he was married. Did you? And she said, yeah, he mentioned Ruthie before. She's not a secret. I said, oh, okay. Well, I had never heard of her, so that was a surprise to me. She says, yeah, Steve has mentioned her a couple of times. They've been together for a while. And I'm like, oh, well, and so she's not a secret, but apparently Conchita is. Francine said, oh, earlier today, before I knew that the lady was back there, he came back and he got the receipts from the other night, and he said, by the way, no need to mention Conchita. And I didn't know what he was talking about, she said. Now I understand. I say, oh, no need to mention Conchita? He said that? She said, yes, he did. I said, the rat. Oh, so, well, congratulations to them. And where the hell is everybody? Where's Michael? Where's Gregory? And Francine said, Gregory's going to be here anytime. I don't know where Michael is. And so that was that day. That was that Saturday. Now it's a few days later. It is Wednesday, the following Wednesday. It is February the 1st, 1984. And I'm in there nice and early that day. I'm in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. And I'm in there, and Gregory is there, and Michael is there, and Francine is there, and I'm there. Steven's not there, but it's just the four of us, and we're hanging around between customers. And Gregory, as he loves to say every now and then, says, well, time for a Criss-TALL. And he goes and he gets a Louis Roederer Criss-TALL, a bottle of champagne, and he gets out some little we get these little sample glasses, right? These cute little sample glasses. They look like you're in the cuckoo's nest or you're drinking NyQuil, right? So he lines up a bunch of those and he pops open a bottle of Louis Roederer Criss-TALL, which some people will say, of course, it's all subjective, but they say that Louis Roederer Criss-TALL is the finest of champagnes, the champagne of champagnes. Yes, and not Dom Perignon or Moet Chandon or any of those others, but indeed Louis Roederer Criss-TALL, as it is called. And he says, Harry, go next door and get some cheese. Don't get anything baggedy ass Swiss or anything. Get some Havarti or something cool. And so I go next door to the deli and I get some Havarti and I get some Jarlsberg and I get some of those table water crackers. And so we have an impromptu wine and cheese tasting in the booze store. It's fantastic. And so it's like, that old maxim comes back again. Booze to the left of me, booze to the right of me, booze all around. Thank heavens I work in a neighborhood booze store. I look so forward to telling you what happens next. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and please don't forget to comment. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. All right, I look forward to telling you what's happening next. All right.